the question of rebellion, it's so much of it is default assumed to be what the kind of 60s rebellion represented, which was fundamentally an anti-authoritarian rebellion against the previous generation. And there was much more of a generational consciousness then. I think each subsequent generation has tried to repeat that, but it feels always a little bit hollow just because I think things have probably become a lot more fragmented since then. So you haven't had a kind of new generation which has entered the universities, had a disposable income suddenly, and has rebelled against its parents. I think subsequent generations have been a little bit more confused. But it does raise the question exactly of what rebellion consists in, and that it doesn't necessarily need to consist in a sort of, anti-authoritarian fuck you dad kind of thing. It can be in a kind of like, why do you care so much? I want to care less about things, or I want to care about different things. And what it really brought to mind was I had this line manager in a previous job in the previous decade, who was very, very Gen Y. I think he had come of age in the late 80s, early 90s. And, I think me and another colleague said we were interested in politics, we were discussing politics, and he thought that was just the lamest fucking thing. He was like, what? Why are you guys interested? When I was growing up, we just wanted to smoke pot and do alternative stuff and, set up our own raves. And for him, it was all about rebellion, was expressing a kind of cultural rebellion, and was a kind of, letting yourself off the hook of the responsibilities and demands and duties of past political commitment, which, even if for the Gen Xers was all about idealism, for their children it was a sort of anti-idealism, at least in terms of not being beholden to the responsibilities that idealism imposes, and instead just saying, well, I want to do my own thing. I want to basically allow myself to pursue interesting consumer things, and not be responsible for society. Basically, we don't live in a society, and I want to do my own fucking thing. Fuck you. And
yeah, so it's not that kind of anti-authoritarian impulse. So it's not a straight reaction to that kind of 68 anti-authoritarian.
No, it's not a conservative response. It's more just, it's an anti-idealist rebellion, which is really odd. And I think, and okay, that was slightly different because he's talking about smoking pot and wanting to set up his own raves and whatever, and thinking politics was a dead lame thing to think about and to care about. The example given of Buttigieg, I still can't pronounce his name. Buttigieg. How do you say it?
I don't know. I've read his father's translations of Gramsci.
But something.
Yeah. I think it's Buttigieg.
Anyway, Mayor Pete.
Let's just call him Mayor Pete.
Example of a guy.
No. Look, it's like Boris, and no, don't call him by his first name.
I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Anyway, Buttigieg. He is a guy who thinks he's being really cool in saying, hey, we should have consensus. We shouldn't have all this polarized, angry stuff. That really turns people off, man. And he couldn't be further from the truth, as our discussion about the waning consensus in American politics about the previous article really demonstrates.